Welcome in, my friend. Welcome back. And welcome in anyone here for the first time. If you are for the first time, stick around. Pay for your ticket or like and subscribe, as I say, and join the family. But this is 11th Charlton taking on 2nd WREXHAM AFC. It's the Red Dragons travelling to the Addicts. And I tell you, it's going to be a really, really tough game. And walking and talking into this, I got lots for both sides. If you're a Charlton fan, stick around. You know, Red Dragons fans, I've got lots to bring for you as well. I'm also going to finish this one differently with a story. Yeah, a personal story from Charlton Athletic, the Valley, when the ground was a dump. And that's a long time ago, because you look at that stadium now, it's beautiful. But when that ground was a dump, well, I've got a story to tell you about what happened outside the stadium to me, inside the stadium to a few of us, and what happened on the day. And it wasn't a good day. But like I say, welcome in. It's 11th taking on 2nd. The Addicts taking on the Red Dragons. Let's take a look at the menu. And if you're here for the first time, welcome in. But I say this much. Senior crowd, junior crew, let's go again. Check out the menu, everybody. This is where we're going. So before we go anywhere, guys, let's check out some club news. And there's also news about the Kop. Yeah, check it out. Be right back. Take a look at that program. That program represents programs from the 1935 to 1936 season. That says 24-25 season. Yeah, number 8. But the point I'm making is it's an old-fashioned, styled program brought back for the last game, which commemorated and celebrated Wrexham's 160 years as a club. I can't ever forget Wrexham's birthday, because their birthday is the same day as mine, believe it or not. Fact. Another piece of club news for you. Last week's man of the match for Ultimate Soccer was Arthur Okonkwo. Make that clean sheet. Shut out number 7. And there's Arthur and the program from last week looking great. 160 years. I wonder how many shutouts Arthur's going to get, and how long will Arthur be with Wrexham. And as you can see, Wrexham have appointed Populous as their architect to create the new Kop at the racecourse ground, and it will have a 5,500 capacity, and it comes with hospitality, seating, and safe standing as well. And who doesn't want to stand at a football match? And finally, news on Wrexham versus Lincoln City. The game has now been rearranged for November 26 at 7:45 local time. So there you go, club news, and especially about the Kop, yeah, and 160 years in. And my birthday is exactly on the day that Wrexham was founded. I kid you not. I kid you not. I kid you not. Honestly, that is the way it goes. But right now, let's take a look at the stats and stories. They're head-to-head. The last 5 and the last 5. You'll get it when I get there. But hey, Charlton fans, there's stuff in here for you, as well as Red Dragon fans. Enjoy. Let's go. So, it's South London in Charlton, England, versus Wrexham in North Wales. And I'll just remind you, if you're new here, press pause on a few of the images that we're going to go through, because there's a lot of information to take in. Remember, like and subscribe, and I'm going to thank someone pretty soon. So it's game 13 for both teams, Charlton Athletic and Wrexham AFC. And at this stage, we go to the head-to-head. Charlton fans, if you're new here, we do this every week. We tell you what's happened in the history books. Now, Charlton Wrexham in the past. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There you go. 3 wins for Charlton, the Addicts, 5 draws, and 7 wins for the Red Dragons. Now, looking at head-to-head, let's take a look at that next. And this is where we thank Gwyn Lloyd for last week's saving the day. We had a number wrong in one of our slides, so we do apologise, guys. We try to be perfect, but Gwyn pointed out that we had something wrong. So, Gwyn, thanks again, mate, for saving the day. And looking at this week, well, it's pretty simple. Everything we've double-checked, and we are good. Good to go. So first game was 1969. You can see that, and that was a win for Wrexham. So there's your first win as well. Duplicates itself, yeah. First loss, 4 years later, 2-1 at the Valley. And a bad day for Wrexham was a 3-0 loss at home to Charlton, 1974. But they bounced back 6 years later with a 6-0 trouncing over Charlton, and that was in the FA Cup. Now let's take a look at the last 5 between these two head-to-head. And there's the last 5, and if you look at the last 5, Wrexham's won 4 of those last 5, but Charlton won the last one, 1-0 at the Valley, 1982, February 1982. 41 years, 9 months ago, nearly 42 years ago, and that was in Division 2. Let's take a look at the last 5 recently from Wrexham. Wrexham's been through a little rough ride recently, 3 games on the road in the last 5, but they've come through it pretty good. 8 points from 15 when you look down below, and those are the scores that did the damage. But for the last 5, it's 2-2 and 1. And I say this respectfully because 3 of those games were very tough, especially that one I told you about in Huddersfield at home. That was tougher than most people gave it credit for. Likewise, Charlton Athletic have had a really tough batch of games recently, and those scorelines will tell you exactly how well, and I mean how well, they fared against the last 5 games. Remembering they're coming in off some recent bad form, it's now starting to pick up somewhat. But take that first game, September 28th, Stevenage, a 1-0 loss. Do you remember losing 1-0 to Stevenage? I do. Birmingham City, October 5th, yeah? Beating Birmingham City, so far the only guys to slay team numero uno. Yeah, 11th took out number 1. Remember that as well. That was a few games back. And let's face it, a 1-1 with Stockport County, that's no mean feat either. So looking at it face value, yeah, they're coming in with some great form. And recently, 3 games undefeated. This is going to be tough. Very tough. And don't forget to shut down the show. I'm going to tell you that story about the hooligan tale, and I'll tell you now, it will shock you. It will shock you. Stick around. You got to hear it. So last week wasn't really many highlights for Wrexham, as you would say, because it finished 0-0. I mean, if you want to say highlights of tackles, highlights of blocks, highlights of saves, yes, especially saves. Man of the match, Arthur Okonkwo. This is my image of the day as the man is walking into the job. Arthur's going to have to get busy in this one, I think, and I think that if we're going to get anything out of this game, Arthur's got to pull another shutout, which means team defense has got to bring another clean sheet, basically, yeah? Take a look at the highlights right now. This is the last game Charlton played, and it was on the road at Barnsley. Into the highlights. Shot comes in from Barnsley. Kyler Dunn taps in, 1-0. Millay in front of the goal now. Luke Berry looking to get on the end of this one, and he does. Watch this, 77 minutes, 1 apiece. Tied up game. Shortly after, that same man, Luke Berry, off a defensive error, smashes it home, blame the keeper, 2-1, and you're thinking it's a win. But Barnsley would think about that one and have other ideas and slam in at the end, 2-2. Well, Charlton should have won at Barnsley, that's for sure, yeah? 2-1 up with seconds on the clock and they get tied on, yeah? Bad luck. But had they have done that, well, they'd be higher up in the table and they'd be looking to jump into the top 6, and they quite possibly could get into the top 6 this week if they beat Wrexham. Let's take a look at Charlton's last home game against Stockport County. So one more time, I'm going to remind you guys that story's still coming. My fateful day at the Valley. You need to hear it. It was a shocking day, and it probably will shock you. Now, looking at the highlights, Stockport County, Charlton, Stockport going long. Mannion coming out, crashes right through Louis Barry. Referee says that's a spot kick. Barry now lines it up. Fires it past Mannion in goal. Not a chance there. You got to say Charlton would have something to say about that, though. The corner comes across a little bit of a melee, and then you got to say Edmonds Green fires home. It's 1 apiece, and look at that man's joy. He's happy. So there you go, 1 apiece, and Charlton come back in that game. Let's take a look now at the prediction image video for this one. Charlton taking on Wrexham, i.e. what I think the score's going to be. Charlton fans, get a load of this. 3 to 4 minutes. Don't miss it. It's a true story. It really happened. Wrexham on the road all season, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, 4 goals scored, 4 goals against. And that's why I see with the form that Wrexham has right now, this may well end up 1-0 to Charlton. It could get even better. Don't forget, they slapped Birmingham City 1-0 at home. And I do hope that Wrexham can come away with something here, but if it is a win, then I only see it being 1-0 like the last road game against Rotherham United, a 1-0 away win. But it's going to be tough. Favourite for the day, Charlton Athletic. 1-0 win. So there you go. There's the prediction image. I'm slightly favouring a possible 1-0 for Charlton Athletic at home. Remember that big win against Birmingham, Stockport County 1 apiece. They can take care of business at home. There's no doubt about it. If it goes wrong, it could be more, as I say. But if Wrexham turn up and give us a real resounding performance, very brave, venture down the field, use the ball, tighten it up in defence, and keep it as it is, then I think, yes, we can get a result. But I think the best result we could get is only a 1-0. I don't see Wrexham loading it up. I don't see Wrexham filling the net. That Charlton's in the driving seat. Now, looking at Wrexham going to the board, Charlton fans, I go to the board each week for both teams. You're up next. Charlton's up next. But with Wrexham, I'm going to say this much. It's time to be positive. Wrexham's second in the league in League One. Last year, Wrexham was 7th in League Two after a 1-0 win against Crawley, and it was Ollie Palmer that scored the goal in the 13th minute. So when you think about where Wrexham is now, where they are a year ago, and where they were 2 years ago, and where they were 10 years ago, I'm in a positive frame of mind. I'm quite happy. I don't have any worries. And if we don't get out of this league this year, so be it. We'll try again next year. But I say this much, it's going to be tough. Wrexham's last 3 games are massive, massive. I'll tell you who they are. Mansfield at home. Stockport County away. Exeter City at home. Them's 3 tough games. This one's a tough game. So the next 4 games are going to be absolutely massive. If Wrexham don't take points, they'll slide from 2nd to 4th to 5th to 6th, somewhere in there. But this weekend, if it goes wrong, Wrexham could slide from 2nd to 4th. It's a reality. Although, Wrexham now on the positive side of things, unbeaten in 3 games all competition, bouncing back with the form. Last loss was a 1-0 at Stevenage. Remember that one? Tough game. Louis Thompson got the winner. Yeah. Wrexham have failed to score, yeah, in 3 of the last 5 games. That shouldn't worry anybody, but it should be highlighted because normally Wrexham score goals. And in the last 5 games, 3 of those games, we haven't. But a good sign at the same time is that Wrexham's only conceded 2 in the same time. So not scored many, not given up many, but 3 games on the road in the last 5, and they still hang on to 2nd. So those points that are being picked up are why Wrexham stay where they are, yeah? Moving along. The last goal Wrexham scored, have a think about this right now. The last goal Wrexham scored, Wrexham fans, 179 minutes ago. Paul Mullin at Rotherham, yes, the Mullin time goal as predicted, but 179 minutes have gone through since we've seen the ball hit the back of the net. Is it going to happen this week? I tell you, Charlton's going to make it tough on us. They are really going to make it tough on us. We can't sit back. We can't dwell on it. We can't sit back and get the pressure come to us. We've got to break up down the field. Like I say, get the transition playing. This is a game we must win to stay in 2nd. Lose it, drop down the table. Once you slide down, though, I'll tell you this, it's pretty hard to get back up where you just were. So the momentum has to keep going and points have to keep coming in. And that bravery that I'm talking about on the road is what we need to see this weekend. There's nothing wrong with the squad. There's nothing wrong with the team. We've got a great coach. But something needs to change with the away form. And we need to venture down the field. One of the strangest things I ever thought about, and it was an old coach told me this, he said, you know, if you can't get out your half, kick it all the way down the field into touch. So kick it for a throw-in in their half and move your team up the field. I know it sounds like a rugby tactic, but that fella was quite smart. And when I coached, I used that with my guys to get us up the field. Not saying Phil needs to do that, but we've got to try and get down that field more often and not get pinned around our own 18-yard box, because that's what it looks like every time we go on the road. You look at the percentages when we go on the road. We're probably in the high 20s, low 30s a lot of the time, yeah? We need that to be 40 to 45% on the road. Then we'll be doing fine. Like I say, we got to get this win. It's got to happen now. And we got to get a big performance from the lads. And if we don't, 2nd place will be last week. This week will be 3rd, 4th, or maybe 5th. Now let's take a look at Charlton and see what they're about. So let's take a look at Charlton Athletic, Addicts fans, and Wrexham fans, listen up because there's a lot of good news in here. I tell you. Now, coach Nathan Jones, 51, the Welshman. Yeah, he's done a very good job. Very well travelled, Nathan. He's had some big jobs, yeah? Take a look online. You'll see where he's been. Since his arrival, since February 2024, this year with Charlton, 30 games under his belt as coach, 10 wins from 30. So 1 in 3 they win. 13 draws. 13 draws and 7 losses for 33.33% for Nathan. Do you think this one's going to be a draw? Because if somebody doesn't win, obviously, it looks like it could be. But again, the favourite to win 1-0, Charlton Athletic, I say. Wrexham, you need to bring that game to take 3 points. You really do, because these guys won't give it up. Charlton so far, 3 clean sheets at home. 3 clean sheets at home. Got to say. And those were Orient 1-0, Bolton 2-0, and Birmingham 1-0. 3 clean sheets against decent teams. Are they going to put up another clean sheet against Wrexham? Charlton only allowed Birmingham 3 shots all game. None on target. And 36% possession was what Charlton beat Birmingham with. In the next game I'm talking about, Stockport County, which finished 1 apiece, they would have 63%. But they'd allow 8 shots on net, not 3, and 2 this time would be on target. So the grand total of those 2 games against top teams, Birmingham and Stockport County, they allowed total 11 shots on the net, but only 2 were on target. You got to factor in team defense. You got to factor in team defense with this team. Yes, they may be young around the park, but Nathan's got them going. Now, more from the board. Charlton are unbeaten in 3 games. That's all competition, yeah? The last loss was the 2-3 loss to Bristol Rovers October 1st. So all competition, 3 games, unbeaten. They scored in all 4 games since the Bristol Rovers loss. Top shots, be aware of these 2 guys. Luke Berry, yeah, on 4 goals, and Matt Godden. Godden got the goal against Birmingham, yeah? So those 2 guys, 4 goals apiece. Definitely want to be careful of those guys. Don't give them any room, because if you do, you're probably going to get scored on. Again, Charlton are favourites to win this one. And a win for the Addicts could put them in the top 6. That's how big this could be. They're in 11th right now, but a win and results going their way could well put the Addicts in the top 6. And like I say, for me, they're a top 10 team guaranteed, no doubt about it. Next up for the Addicts, well, I'll tell you what, that's a toughie. Exeter City away November 9th. Now let's take a look and listen to that Hooley story from Charlton. So, many years ago, this was December 1983, I went home. I was living in Europe at the time, media job, and I went back home to visit the family. Visiting the family at Christmas time, normal thing to do, right? Yes. Well, my brother was a big Palace fan, still is a big Crystal Palace fan, has always been a Crystal Palace nut. Not me. I would go to a few games when I went home, because that's what you do, right? Anyway, on this particular occasion, we get in a van, we drive across London from South London, Wimbledon, to Charlton. We get to Charlton, get out of the van, go in this pub. Not thinking anything bad. Go inside the pub. Here's where it all went wrong. Short story in quick time. We walk in. Pub is full of Charlton fans. It's up on the bank, yeah? It's way up on the high ground. It's a Charlton haunt where Charlton fans go. Well, I'm not from Charlton. Didn't know anything about their pub. Go in their pub. 6 of us, my brother, myself, Patrick, and a few other guys. You'll remember Patrick. And we're in the pub, and straight away, we're at the bar, and I'm like, this doesn't feel good. We are in the wrong place big time. And a few of the ruffians from the Charlton were starting to push and shove us. So I just turned around to this big guy. No tough, no bullshit, no lie. I turned around to this big guy and I said, oi, I'm telling you now, we're here for a beer. We're not here for any trouble. So cut it out. Now, why did I say that? Well, it was quite easy why I said that. Is because I don't like bullies. Patrick, to my right, got slapped in the face by Mr. Bignut. That's why I told him, cut it out. And he did it twice. Now, we're coming towards halfway through our beers. And my big brother's like, listen, Pretend we're Millwall, because Millwall is down the road and they won't piss with us. So straight away, everybody's on the Millwall trip. And I'm like, okay, let's pretend it. So we down our beers, and just as we finish the beers, I see Mr. Bully balling up his fist, getting ready to just clock Patrick right in the side of the head. What did I do? And this, again, is straight truth. I am an absolute reactive person. When I saw Bully riling and getting that fist ready, I saw the fist come, and as he threw his fist, that's exactly what I did. And I threw his fist back in his hand. And I talked to him, and I told him, I said, I told you, that's it. No more. Cut it out. And the whole pub went silent. So he's turned around. We start walking to the door. And there's this little idiot at the door making a fuss, saying, you're going nowhere. What did I do? I just picked him up and threw him out of the way, opened the door, got out the pub. We all came out the pub. And on getting out the pub, the whole pub emptied on us. So you're talking about 200 guys waiting to kick the living crap out of a couple of guys. We were 6. We didn't go there for trouble. We went there for a beer and then go to the game, because I'm not a hooligan and neither are the guys with me. But on getting outside that pub, there's a good one. They all emptied out and started to chase us and started to put the boots to us. And straight away, Mark, my big brother, is like, split up, everybody, split up. So we split. Now, I've always been a bit of a fit cookie, so I could run fast. And when there's 30 guys trying to kick the shit out of you, you run. You don't stand and fight. You get out of there. And everybody did run. And everybody got away. So we thought. But it wasn't that easy. I get into the ground at the Valley. I'm in the away end. I'm looking around. A load of Palace fans are there, yeah. The ground was an absolute dump on one side. And give them credit, they were trying to keep this ground together at the day, but financial problems were killing Charlton back in the day. But I'm in the ground, and I've legged it down there. And then I start looking around for the guys. I see a couple of guys, and I'm like, where's Patrick? Where's Mark? And eventually they get there. Mark, my brother, he had a kicking. He got a royal kicking. He really got a royal kicking. And it made me mad. It made everybody mad. What had happened to Mark was he was running away from a gang, and he didn't look at the right time, and he went straight, face first, into a lamppost. Bang! Down. And that's why he got the boots put to him. When he got to the ground, he looked really pale. Really pale. He didn't look in good shape at all. He'd had a good kicking. That's the story. Guys, have a great time with this game, because I tell you, I got a feeling it's going to be massive. Don't forget about those top 6 games. Mansfield taking on Birmingham. Huddersfield taking on Exeter. Charlton taking on Wrexham. And also Wycombe taking on Orient itself. Yeah? I tell you. But that story did actually happen. Did. So therefore, I say to you now, that's my take on the game. That's the truth about the story. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's going to be an absolute barn burner. The Wrexham got to bring a top performance if we want to get a result. If we want to pick up points, we got to be brave. We got to play the ball. And if not, we're going to slide from 2nd to 4th, or maybe worse. I don't think it's going to be that bad. So hey, enjoy it. Get into it. And maybe I bring you another story in the next show. But for now, it's Charlton. It's Wrexham. It's the Valley. Let's have it. Cheers.